Good morning. Well, we finally got some more Enfield parts in, as I had suspected they eventually would show up. This should finish up the the action parts pretty much, so we can move on to other parts. Uh, the one thing I keep talking about, that ring. This is the ring I've been waiting on, and you can see how it's beveled on one side. And what this does is it goes onto the barrel and it sits up against here, and you can see when you put your wood on the top, you have your band that's going to hold it on this end, and the wood slides up underneath there, and it holds the wood up against the barrel. And we'll put that on before we put the flash hider. So that's one thing that was kind of exciting. The other parts that we got a Sear. Now the Sear, as I explained before, it sits inside the receiver. And what happens is that when the bolt comes in, I showed you where the bolt comes in, and this gets caught on the cocking piece and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in now, and it goes in. There's two sides, the long side and the short side. Oh, and this was the Sear off of the number 4. It's also the same Sear that goes on number 1 and number 3. And this is the one that goes on the number 5. And you can see where what they've done is they've hollowed out some of it. This is part of a weight saver plan that they had. Little things like this, and of course they cut 6 inches off the barrel just about, and so forth. The number 5 is about 2 pounds lighter than the number 4, and the number 4 that it's based on. The weight thing, while we're at it, you can see along here where they cut some of the metal out to make things lighter, and there's also parts of the receiver itself that they cut to just a little bit of time. So it's just a couple ounces here and there, and eventually they ended up with a loss of about 2 pounds. Okay, and I'm going to put the Sear in now. So the Sear goes in. There's two sides to it, the long side and the short side. The long side goes towards the top, and put a pin in it. Let's see, put the pin on this side. There. So we got the pin. So now the Sear's in there. Let's move it forward here so we can see. And you can see that the Sear moves back and forth. And it moves back and forth for a reason, because you want it to hold, you want it to let go, you want it to hold. Now, what you have is you need it to be movable, to just sit there, and the same thing with the Sear. So what you have is you have a spring. This is the same spring that they used. This one's 1944, and it's the same spring they used back on my number 1 Mark III that was made in 1918. So they're consistent about it. Now, I don't know if you can see. I'll bring it up close. There's a little notch here right there. That's where one side of the spring goes. That's the short side. There's 2 sides to the spring, the long side and the short side. The long side goes down into the Sear, the base of the Sear. And the short side goes onto the latch for the see it here. You have to grab it, turn it down, it goes inside. There you go. And there's the spring. So now the spring works for this, for the latch, for the magazine, and it works for the Sear also. Okay, so let's see if the Sear works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in the bolt. Now we should look and see if it catches on the cocking piece, and it does. And if you push on pull on like the trigger wood on the Sear, there it is. Okay, so the Sear works. It's easy for you at 4 in the morning. There we go. So we got the bolt off. The next part that we got was, or is, the safety. The safety is very simple on this gun, and it consists of these parts. This is the safety bolt. If you look at the safety bolt, let's see how I can do this. You can see there's like a flat end. It's cut in half, kind of. And you get the flat part, and I'll show you how that works. It's got a safety lock. This keeps it from going too far forward. We'll show that, and it keeps it in place. You have the spring. The spring goes on the outside that keeps so that it puts tension on this so that it'll stay. And you've got your screw to put the spring on. So the first thing you got to do is you got to put the lock on. The lock is tricky because for some reason you can actually put it on anywhere along here that you want, and it's going to end up wiggling around to different places. So if you were to ever see it, so what you got to put it on in such a way that there. Okay, so it's on. So what this does, you can see. Let's see. You can see it this way. It turns with the bolt itself turns on this lock, and when it hits the maximum, it holds it, so that when you put it in to the receiver itself, what that does is it keeps it from going too far forward. It blocks it. Then I'm going to put the spring on. Okay. So what this does is, this is your safety. It goes back on. I mean, it's off. Safety on. Safety off. Safety on. Now, man, this would be a miracle if you can see it. Let's do it this way here. There's your safety right there. Stick it through. Remember I said it had a flat side and it had a non-flat side. So when you turn this, see? Now it's flat. It's on the flat side. So the safety is off. When the safety is on, the part that was cut sticks up, and you can see inside. Is that bright enough? We can see inside there. I think you can see. And then off. So there's your safety. Well, let's see if the safety works. Okay, so we put it in. We see that the cocking device works, so therefore the Sear is working. So we have the safety off. You can move it, no problem. I'm going to put the safety on. So I pull the safety back to here. Now, it's locked in there. It won't open. It won't. The Sear itself is not working. So the safety is working. Like I said, it's very simple. It's got that cut, so it depends on whether it's facing up or facing down like that. It is for the safety itself. So we take the safety off, and there we go. The last thing we got in the mail yesterday with this group was we got the ejector. The ejector is just a little screw like this. It's a little flat thing on the end there without any threads on it. There's a hole in the side of the receiver right there. That's the vent hole, but that's where the ejector goes. So we'll see if Parkinson's will let me put it in the little hole. Okay, then. So what happens is it sticks out just a little bit inside the receiver, and when you pull back on the bolt, it's got the cartridge still, the spent cartridge still attached to it. It comes and it hits the edge of this bolt, and it kicks it out. There we go. So what I'm going to do is, I've got a dummy around here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is see if I can't simulate the magazine. Okay, so we're in. We got it closed. We pull it out. And there it is. The ejector works. So that's pretty much all the parts that go to the action of the Enfield number 5. What we've got to deal with now is the other stuff, the wood and bands and so forth to make this a viable gun. So again, today we put on the safety. We put on the Sear, the Sear spring, and we put on the ejector. Well, I hope that you enjoyed it. I always enjoy when the gun starts coming together, and this is where it has started. We'll be back again when we get more parts. Yeah, thanks for watching.